Hello, beautiful friends. Welcome back to 365 Days of Love and Miracles with A Course in Miracles. My name is Arlene Geres, and I am so glad that you are here. Please remember to listen right until the very end because we have a special treat for you. And if you enjoyed today's video, please click like and subscribe down below because this helps others to find us on YouTube. Today's lesson is lesson number 130. It is impossible to see two worlds. We have been talking about this all the way through. We cannot be both in fear and in love. We cannot be seeing through the eyes of the ego and the eyes of God at the same time. We have to choose. The Course actually says, choose again. Every time that we recognize that we are off track, we're upset about something that has happened in our lives, or maybe we're depressed about something that we're remembering, or we're feeling anxious about what might happen in the future, we can literally choose again. We can stop, we can say a prayer, and we can say, Dear God, help me to see this differently. Help me to see this through the eyes of love. Help me to see this through your eyes. Let's read today's lesson. Perception is consistent. What you see reflects your thinking, and your thinking but reflects your choice of what you want to see. Your values are determiners of this. For what you value, you must want to see, believing that what you see is really there. No one can see a world his mind has not accorded value, and no one can fail to look upon what he believes he wants. Let's talk about it. Since the very beginning, we have been talking about this idea that what we see reflects our thinking. That first lesson, nothing I see in this room, on this street, in this place means anything. Lesson 7, I see only the past. Lesson 9, I see nothing as it is now. Lesson 12, I am upset because I see a meaningless world, and so on. All of those beginning lessons were breaking down our idea that what we see out there is real. I certainly believed that before I was introduced to A Course in Miracles. When we start to see that we project our own feelings, our own stuff, if you will, onto what we're looking at, then we can choose again. We can learn how to see a very different way. What we look at out there is a reflection of what is in our heart. And if we have love in our heart, we are going to see things in a very different way. This lesson is taking us ever deeper into that idea. This paragraph also talks about what we value is what we see. What do you value? Do you value the world of the ego, which is really about selfishness, getting ahead, accumulating, being better than someone, or feeling less than? These are just an example of some of the gifts that the ego brings us. Do we truly value that? Is that what we want in our lives? Or do we want peace and joy and love and God's incredible world, God's incredible freedom? It really comes down to what we value. If you need to do some work on this, I would encourage you to take out your journal and do some writing on it. Get honest with yourself. Are you having trouble letting go of the world of the ego? That's okay. We have the rest of our lives and on into eternity to continue to work on this. But the key is to be honest with ourselves about it. Let's keep reading. Yet who can really hate and love at once? Who can desire what he does not want to have reality? And who can choose to see a world of which he is afraid? Fear must make blind, for this its weapon is. That which you fear to see, you cannot see. Love and perception thus go hand in hand, but fear obscures in darkness what is there. Let's talk about it. It is impossible to hate and love at the same time. It is impossible to desire what we do not want and also have reality at the same time. And of course, we would not want to choose a world of fear. Love and perception go together. However, fear wants to keep us stuck. The ego wants to keep us blind to the reality of God's world. Let's keep reading. What then can fear project upon the world? What can be seen in darkness that is real. Truth is eclipsed by fear, and what remains is but imagined. Yet what can be real in blind imaginings of panic born? What would you want that this is shown to you? What would you wish to keep in such a dream? These are all great questions, and you may want to take some time to really reflect on them. What then can fear project upon the world? When we look at the projection of fear, it is going to reflect certain things onto the world. We're going to see fear everywhere we look. However, this is not real. If we're looking through the eyes of ego, it is impossible to see God's love. And then we have truth eclipsing fear. So let's imagine fear is here. We have truth pass in front of it. And then if we are willing to value the truth, fear simply disappears. You cannot see it. Can I make that disappear? Moving my hand around trying to get it right. There, it's disappeared. Fear has disappeared. It's gone. It no longer exists. The point is, keep coming back to the truth of God's love, and you will lose all fear. Let's read on. Fear has made everything you think you see, all separation, all distinctions, and the multiple of differences you believe made up the world. They are not there. Love's enemy has made them up. Yet love can have no enemy, and so they have no cause, no being, and no consequence. They can be valued, but remain unreal. They can be sought, but they cannot be found. Today we will not seek for them, nor waste this day in seeking what cannot be found. Let's talk about it. If we're over here in the field of love, truly seeing through God's eyes, then all of these things disappear. They cannot be found. They're gone. They disappear like nothing. The real point here is, how much time do you want to spend in looking at all this junk over here? It's like going and cleaning out your closet and looking at every single piece, hugging it close and going, oh, I just don't want to let you go. It's all in rips and tatters and it doesn't fit anymore. It looks terrible, but we just want to hold on to it. Is that how we want to be? Do we want to spend all of this time taking each piece bit by bit by bit and just feeling this incredible angst, this incredible need to hold on to it? No, it's as simple as deciding, I do not want that world anymore. I do not want to see through the eyes of fear. I truly want to see through the eyes of love. This has been one of the most powerful things, if not the most powerful thing, that I have ever encountered. And it is simply the practice. Fear comes in many forms. It can look like anger. It can look like depression. It can look like upset. It can look like so many different kinds of emotions. It can look like somebody's trying to push me around. Someone is trying to force their will onto me. It can look like my own stubbornness. These are the many forms of fear. My ego instinct is to hold on tight. That never serves me well. More and more, as I continue to practice these lessons, I recognize sooner when I am caught in fear, and I am able to make a decision, to say a prayer. Dear God, help me to see this through your eyes. Help me to give this over into your hands. Help me to trust that you will take care of it. I don't need to worry about it anymore. Let's read on. It is impossible to see two worlds which have no overlap of any kind. Seek for the one, the other disappears, but one remains. They are the range of choice beyond which your decision cannot go. The real and the unreal are all there are to choose between, and nothing more than these. I love to swim. It is one of my greatest joys and has been since I was a young child. The one thing I always know, when you're jumping off the high diving board, there is no going back. You cannot both be on the diving board and in the water at the same time. It's exactly the same thing. We cannot have both worlds. We have to choose. This whole lesson is about making a choice. What is your choice going to be? Let's read on. Today, we will attempt no compromise where none is possible. The world you see is proof you have already made a choice, as all embracing as its opposite. What we would learn today is more than just the lesson that you cannot see two worlds. It also teaches that the one you see is quite consistent from the point of view from which you see it. It is all a piece because it stems from one emotion and reflects its source in everything you see. Let's talk about it. The source of fear is the ego. The source of love is God. It's like our minds are a movie projector. What we put into the projector is what is projected on the screen. That is how this works. Our minds are projecting what is already in there out onto the world. This happens in a variety of ways. It can be the music we listen to. It can be the people we spend time with. It can be what we read. It can be what we watch on TV. If we're putting trash in there, that is going to affect how we see the world. If we're putting loving thoughts, loving ideas through whatever media we are consuming, from however we're spending our time, if we're spending time with God, then we are going to see love everywhere we look. Let's keep reading. 6 times today, in thanks and gratitude, we gladly give 5 minutes to the thought that ends all compromise and doubt and go beyond them all as one. We will not make 1,000 meaningless distinctions, nor attempt to bring with us a little part of unreality as we devote our minds to finding only what is real. Let's talk about it. In today's practices, we are literally putting this idea into practice of going beyond compromise, of fully accepting we cannot live in both worlds. No excuses here. We are going to stop making 1,000 meaningless distinctions. We're going to let go of the world of lies, let go of the world of unreality, and move over 100% to the world of truth. Do you think you can do that today? Let's read on. Begin your searching for the other world by asking for a strength beyond your own and recognizing what it is you seek. You do not want illusions, and you come to these 5 minutes emptying your hands of all the petty treasures of this world. You wait for God to help you as you say. You may want to close your eyes as I say this. It is impossible to see two worlds. Let me accept the strength God offers me and see no value in this world, that I may find my freedom and my deliverance. Let's talk about it. We cannot get from the world of fear to the world of love on our own strength. We need God's help for this. This prayer is a wonderful way to do it. And when we recognize that we're in trouble, that we've slipped back into the ego's way of thinking, we may want to stop and just say a little prayer like this. Dear God, please help me to let go of the world of petty grievances and move over into your world of love. Amen. It's as easy as that. God always delivers. We don't have to worry about it. We are trying to break our old way of thinking. We're trying to change our habitual way of seeing. We can do this with God's help. Let's read on. God will be there, for you have called upon the great, unfailing power, which will take this giant step with you in gratitude. Nor will you fail to see his thanks expressed in tangible perception and in truth. You will not doubt what you will look upon, for though it is perception, it is not the kind of seeing that your eyes alone have ever seen before, and you will know God's strength upheld as you made this choice. Isn't that exciting? We are going to see things that we have never seen before. These human eyes can only do so much. It's like we're taking off our dirty glasses and, oh my gosh, the world is so amazing. Have you experienced that? We look around and we go, where did that come from? I never saw that before, and I've lived here for 10 years. Suddenly, our eyes are literally opened. The Bible calls it the scales will fall from our eyes, and we will truly see. We will learn to see how God sees you, how God sees me, how God sees every single thing that goes on in our lives. And he loves us so much. We open the channel and his love just pours over us and through every cell of our being. And so we are able to send that love out into the world. Let's keep reading. Dismiss temptation easily today whenever it arises, merely by remembering the limits of your choice. The unreal or the real, the false or true, is what you see and only what you see. Perception is consistent with your choice, and hell or heaven comes to you as one. Once again, we can only see one thing at a time. Which do we choose? Do we choose the unreal, the false, in other words, hell, or do we choose real, truth, heaven? I know what my choice is. Since you are now at lesson 130, you obviously are reaching towards heaven as well. We're all going to get there. Let's keep on doing the practices, and we will more and more be recognizing that we are already in heaven. We just have to take off our dirty glasses in order to see it. Let's finish the reading. Accept a little part of hell as real, and you have damned your eyes and cursed your sight, and what you will behold is hell indeed. Yet the release of heaven still remains within your range of choice to take the place of everything that hell would show to you. All you need say to any part of hell, whatever form it takes, is simply this: it is impossible to see two worlds. I seek my freedom and my deliverance, and this is not a part of what I want. Let's talk about it. All of these lessons have been about training our minds to recognize when we are off track, when we are literally creating our own hell. We need to recognize that first in order to say, no, this is not what I want. It is impossible to see two worlds. I seek my freedom and my deliverance, and this is not a part of what I want. Dear God, help me to see the world through your eyes. Help me to think with your mind. Help me to hear with your ears. Help me to speak with your words, and help me to love with your heart. Amen. The keys are prayer and meditation. Meditate on these lessons. Pray to see your own divinity. Pray to see the beauty, joy, and majesty in others. It is there if we are willing to open our hearts to it. We are asked to take 6 practice sessions today. First thing in the morning, last thing just before we go to sleep, and 4 more times during the day. I would suggest that you put the reminders into your phone so that you are sure to remember them. In these practice sessions, we want to start by praying for God's strength to help us to move from the world of the ego to the world of love. We are given a specific prayer that we can use. I will read it to you if you would like to close your eyes. It is impossible to see two worlds. Let me accept the strength God offers me and see no value in this world, that I may find my freedom and my deliverance. And then to just sit in quiet meditation. Anytime that we call on God's strength, God always delivers. When we are faced with temptation, we are first to recognize that that's what has happened. We've slipped back into the world of the ego, and then just to pause and say the little prayer at the end of today's lesson. Once again, you can close your eyes if you like while I read it. It is impossible to see two worlds. I seek my freedom and my deliverance, and this is not a part of what I want. We can fill in the blanks here. You can say, this argument with my sweetheart is not what I want. This anxiety is not what I want. This depression is not what I want. Whatever works for you. Thanks so much for listening right until the end, my friends. If you enjoyed today's video, please share the love. Tell others about these videos. Encourage them to start at lesson 1 and only do 1 lesson a day. Are you ready for our special treat?
And here we have another incredibly beautiful tree that grows here in Mexico in the spring. These beautiful trumpet-like flowers, again, they're just covering the ground in this beautiful soft pink. And there's a few more along the way that I'll show you as we go on our little walk today.
A day of walking in heaven, my friends. It is impossible to see two worlds. I hope that you only see God's world today. I love you.